Hey everybody to an episode of OG55 Live. I brought my good friend, producer Dre, Vash Sky, host of Freshly Squeezed with me today. We're going to talk about entertainment returning to the Disneyland Resort. We have a lot to dive into with that. We also have a very special giveaway today. We're going to be doing some trivia at the back end of the show. At the last like 30 minutes or so of the show, we're gonna be doing some trivia, and whoever wins that trivia will be getting this popcorn bucket. All right. Mm-hmm. So look, this is the thing. I put the word out because I really wanted these popcorn buckets, Dre. I put the word out to a lot of people, a lot of my friends. Hey, if you're at the park, grab me one. Shout out to Ranking the Mouse, Sean, friend of the channel. He ended up getting me a popcorn bucket, which is actually behind me up there. That's nice. That's the one Sean got me, which I'm keeping, Sean. I am keeping that one. My fiance ended up getting a popcorn bucket as well, but my sister didn't want hers. Hey, didn't want it. So her loss is your gain. Right? Her loss is your gain. So we're gonna be giving away that that popcorn bucket via trivia later today. All right. So without further ado, Dre, let's go ahead and start the conversation about Disneyland Entertainment returning.
Yeah. This is an interesting one because, I mean, what happened? It happened. You know, you heard the announcement. It was a big hoopla, right? Because entertainment had been so lacking at the Disneyland Resort, and then all of a sudden, you know, on one day, you get Main Street Electrical Parade, and you get World of Color, and we get maybe details on Fantasmic, and it's kind of a big deal. Really exciting stuff. There's a new renewed energy for the park that you really haven't felt for a long time.
Yeah, no, there is. Look, the entertainment is really. It's quintessential Disneyland, or Disney, really. The entertainment is like the soul of the park, you know. And we've seen this. We've seen this when you don't have the entertainment, what a difference it makes. Galaxy's Edge, right?
Oh! He dropped it. Oh man. What can I play? Hey, you know what? See, you know? Right there, yeah.
Right there. You see what a difference it makes, right?
Yes.
With Main Street Electrical Parade back, and we're going to dive into that. I have a lot of thoughts on that. And Fantasmic coming back in, the end of May, and Disneyland Forward, which is a fantastic show. It just feels like Disneyland again. You know, we got World of Color over at Theme Park Casual.
Shots so fired. Funny. Yep.
Shots fired.
That's right.
Hey, Casual, right. Thank you for joining us, brother. We love you, man. We love you.
Oh, so much. Look, you know, we're going to have a show with Casual on the topic of Fantasmic 2.0 when it actually happens, and that's going to be its own kind of thing. You know, when Fantasmic actually comes back. But he's been a great friend of the channel. Thank you so much for showing up and supporting us. This is awesome.
Yeah.
But in entertainment, I mean, it's a big deal. It's in the lifeblood of Disneyland, especially nighttime entertainment. You know, I remember that I think it was a Wonderful World of Color where you have Disneyland After Dark, and you know, with Louis Armstrong and everything like that. I mean, that's just a great one. It's a fantastic piece, and to kind of see it back, there's this, like I said before, this renewed energy for the entire park, and you could feel it. You know, people are coming in, they're grabbing their spots for either Electrical Parade. We're seeing the noon boarding group or virtual queue for World of Color really kind of striking a chord with people, and people are celebrating the fact that they actually got theirs at noon. So it's really been fun, really been great.
Now, one of the big stories on the news, really, for Disney parks, is that they removed the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls intros or spiels to all their shows and parades. And here's the thing, I got to be completely honest. I was really concerned when it came to Main Street Electrical Parade going into this. I was like, Man, 'cause that intro to the electrical parade is so iconic, and it just that whole thing is just so part of that parade. I was really, really nervous about that. How are they going to change this intro? Is it going to feel kind of shoehorned in? Is it going to feel kind of weird? I gotta say, and for those of you that are not aware, check it out on YouTube. I don't want to play it here because I don't want to get copyrighted, but I love how they incorporated Walt Disney's speech to all who come to this happy place. Disneyland proudly presents. I just thought that was a fantastic, really creative way to kind of get around, ladies and gentlemen. It's very much tied to Disneyland, which, look, let's be honest. I know Main Street Electrical Parade has been around the world. It's been to Florida, what have you, but it's still it's a very Disneyland thing. This is the home park, right?
Right.
It just felt very fitting to use Walt's intro in it. I think it just really worked nicely. I think it was a really nice way to kind of do that. What are your thoughts on that, Dre, on that intro changing?
Oh, no. Listen, there's been some controversy surrounding that whole thing, and I don't want to wade into those waters. But when it comes to, if you're going to do it, right, if you're going to get rid of the iconic, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, at least for, I would say Disneyland Spectaculars, Disneyland Entertainment in general, it's actually not a bad way to go to do to all who come to this happy place welcoming. Walt Disney dedicated the park to it, right? So if you can actually have that as the forward to not just Electrical Parade, but to the multitude of different entertainment spectaculars, as that happen within a Disneyland resort, I think it's one that that carries with it some weight and some significance. And if you're gonna pick one, I think it's a great tag to go with.
Well, yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I was really worried they were going to do something like, "Hey, friends," no, I'm good.
I don't. Chat, could you listen? I'm going to need some votes on this. Okay, I'm going to need some votes. All right. Put a 1 in the chat if they overuse friends, and put a 2 in the chat if they use friends like normally, if it doesn't bother you, right? So 1 in the chat for, they overuse the term friends. So you have all the cast members saying friends. Hey, friends. Hey, what's going on, friends? Or 2, do you not mind it? Do you think it works? What do you guys think? Let's see what responses we get here.
Let's see what we get. And while we wait for that,
sure.
We have Theme Park Casual with a $10 donation to the channel. Casual, thank you so much, man. That was really, really generous of you. We appreciate this, man. Thank you so much, brother. Theme Park Casual says, thanks for the great content, shows, and commentary. Here's my contribution to the Get George some Carl's Jr. fund. Yes. Get this man some Carl's Jr. Fantastic.
Nice. Okay. All right. So we got 2 votes in here. Rogue Disney, Theme Park Casual. I'm seeing the comments coming now.
Yeah.
Okay. Right? Okay, so one was the victor, unless we have a whole bunch of 2s that come in. Look, this is what I'm saying. It's just overused, right? It's just a little bit like, yo, bro, yes, hey, we're all friends in here, but I don't know. It just comes off a little forced, comes off a little like Theme Park Casual. It comes off a little bit unnatural, right?
Yeah.
I kind of like it when they used to say folks. What's wrong with folks?
Cool.
Right. It's like, hey, folks, what's going on? It's like, okay, cool. It was friendly. It was charming. It kind of spoke to a bygone time, being, that Americana, right? But wasn't forced or natural like our chat is saying here. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
No, I agree. I agree with you, and I agree with chat. I mean, it does. It feels forced, and that was my big concern with the Electrical Parade, is that they were going to do something like that, like, "Hey, friends, the Electrical Parade." I just no, please no. And I think really what they did here with just incorporating that Walt Disney speech, and sort of turning that into the intro, I thought was just so chef's kiss beautiful, and such a nice homage to Walt, and really just kind of like so fitting for this parade that is so part of Disneyland,
Yeah.
Theme Park Casual says here, I like folks better.
I like the folks. I like it. It's kind of homey, you know. It's kind of like, yeah, it's I don't know. It's like warm, but not. You know, I'm your friend right off the bat, right? It's I gotta get to know you first.
Right, exactly. Now let's dive in. So, Electrical Parade is back, right?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
there's a noticeable difference besides the opening spiel, the finale float. The finale float. So they used to have, and I believe the float was added because of the bicentennial, from what I understand.
Yes.
Big American flag, massive unit, huge American flag, and they had all the cast members or performers alongside it, and a big giant eagle in the back. It was pretty dope. I really liked the Americana finale float for Electrical Parade. I did. Hey, look, Disneyland was built on. It's in the opening day speech. Was kind of built on this Americana. I thought it was a real nice, just kind of tribute to the country, and it just felt fitting for Disneyland. But that's gone now, right? They actually repurposed or rethemed it to kind of a small world, kind of like, you know, global community type of float. They utilize small world dolls, and you know they got like Frozen on there. They got Encanto, Moana, Hercules. What are your thoughts, Dre, in terms of like this whole thing with the new float, the aesthetics, what it replaced? Where are you at with this?
Oh yeah. So yeah, I was sad to see the you know, the kind of America segment kind of go away. It was kind of from a bygone era where, you know, American iconography was a little bit more unified than it is today. And I had to acknowledge that, right? And that's why maybe they went in another direction, but it just kind of spoke to maybe a different time. And you know, hey, who doesn't like some, you know, high stepping gals on the side, right? I mean, you know, like yay, you know. But it's interesting, you know. One of the first things I did notice when they released the concept art for this new float was, there's something missing here, and that was the performers on the side. Yeah. And I thought, well, okay, maybe it's not too bad, right? Maybe you know, when it actually debuts, you know, maybe it won't be so noticeable. Again, you have some pretty good design work when it came to the dolls. I think the proportions of their face are a little bit, you know, strange. They're not quite small dolls; they're a little bit more embellished. But it was like, okay, maybe it'll work. So when you see the new parade float, or I should say the redone parade float, right? A couple things. One, the performers, the lack of them is really jarring because we see all these performers for every single float before then, and so we're kind of set up to see more at the end. So in terms of a true finale, it's a little bit lost, right? When you don't have those performers on the side. But then the dolls themselves, like they kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's not so apparent in person, but seeing it on the stream, they kind of wiggled around a lot, which was kind of like it spoke to maybe the budget friendly nature of this whole thing. Right. And it was like, that's a little strange. But you know, overall, I mean, look, listen, the music is actually integrated pretty well.
Yeah.
They use, you know, portions of, you know, the music from Hercules or Mulan and all the characters that are featured therein. And then you hear all of the children calling out their favorite character as they see them. So that was really nice. That was really cool. And so the kids really get a lot out of that. And that's awesome. That's great. Yeah. It's kind of funny because the people holding the ropes at the very end, as we see every single parade do, they kind of have this kind of routine that evokes the previous high-stepping gals that used to be there as part of the America, you know, unit at the tail end of the Electrical Parade before. So pretty cool. I mean, you know, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's you know, if something is going to replace that unit, I think this was a pretty worthwhile effort. Like I said, I'd like to see characters maybe on the sides. Hey, maybe get the sidekicks that we almost never see from some of these movies, like maybe Mushu or something. The raccoon from Pocahontas. That'd be cool to see it on the side while you see those characters up on the float. So I don't know. Overall, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Something like that.
Yeah, and our friend of the channel, Ethan, Mr. Theme Park Wizard, with a $5 holla. He's saying use this to bring back Paint the Night. So, Theme Park Wizard, look, yeah, I would love to see Paint the Night back. There's been a lot of talk about, bring Paint the Night to DCA and do Electrical Parade at Disneyland, which is really what God intended. Let's be honest, right? that's the ideal situation,
right? Right? No, I completely agree with you. Hey, bring them both back, and whether it be Paint the Night Disneyland or Electrical Parade Disneyland, bring them both back and have them kind of have one at each park, and that would sprout the crowds and get you ready for World of Color while the other one's getting you ready for either the fireworks or Fantasmic. I think that would be great.
No, it would. And here's the thing, because I know that like Paint the Night, the big issue with Paint the Night is, from what I understand, and this is just kind of hearsay, rumor, I don't know, but I think it's pretty legit. There were a lot of injuries with the cast members on that parade.
Yeah.
And that a lot of workers' comp claims. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, I think, why we're not seeing it come back. Now, Theme Park Wizard, what I would suggest as a good compromise is if Disney sort of cherry-picked some of the floats from Paint the Night and inserted them into the Electrical Parade, kind of refresh the whole parade, add 2 or 3 floats from Paint the Night into Electrical Parade and kind of tie it all together. Why not, right? If not going to bring the entire parade back, at least bring some elements of it. Obviously the floats that don't cause injuries. But, I think that would be a good compromise. Now, ideally, Theme Park Wizard, I would agree with you. I'd much rather have the entire parade back and over at DCA. But if you can't do that, at least can we get some of the flows and kind of modernize the Electrical Parade a little bit in that way? I don't know.
No.
Cool.
No. They're 2 different float. They're 2 different styles. They're 2 different things. No, absolutely not. That music is iconic for both, actually, right? The Electrical Parade, Baroque Hoedown is awesome, right? But when can we do this again? Come on. I mean, that's some good stuff right there. No. I'm going to fight for this. I'm going to champion this. Both parades back. Either, switching between the 2 or 1 each park. That's cool. That'd be the optimum way to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And friend of the channel here, Matthew Murr, says, sadly, I can't give any super chats. Sorry, OG. Matthew, you don't have to apologize, brother. You are a huge supporter of your channel. We appreciate you being here. You are constantly sharing our content, commenting, liking. You're a friend of the channel, Matthew. You don't need to apologize for that. We appreciate all you do, man. Thank you so much, Matthew. Thank you.
No, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. No, it's always sharing our videos out on Twitter and stuff like that. No worries at all. You support how you can. That's how you do it. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah,
I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, 100%. Now let's kind of pivot now to Disneyland Forever.
Should we?
Well, if you have something in mind, we can start with that first.
Couple things. One,
sure.
Now, okay, all right. 2 things. One is the start of the Electrical Parade. Remember, it was by the Blue Fairy. Then it was by Tinkerbell. Now it's by nobody. Now it's just the train. Okay, that's a weird thing. Also, the looks like the Dumbo circus segment is removed, which everybody was kind of reacting to. I'm okay with it. I know it's a famous unit. I know people like the music. I didn't really like the music attached to that. I could kind of go, I can kind of take it or leave it kind of thing. And so it's like, okay, we lost that. And then there were some technical issues with some of the floats. I guess, they're still, their maintenance teams or their parade teams aren't as robust I should say, as they used to be, right? So they're getting it out there, and I believe it'll get better with time. But Electrical Parade, great to see it. I just want to end with that. I do apologize.
Yeah, no worries at all. And I also do want to say our buddy here, Theme Park Wizard, has a YouTube channel. He talks all about theme parks, and he does phenomenal work. He's been on the channel before. And he's a really good guy, and he does a phenomenal content. So everyone check him out. He is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely. And if you love Universal, you're going to love his content because he focuses a lot on Universal. He's been like on it in terms of the Super Nintendo World construction over in Hollywood, stuff like that.
Really?
So, yeah, pretty awesome stuff. All right, so let's pivot now to Disneyland Forever. This fireworks show obviously is nowhere near as good as Mickey's Mix Magic. We're just going to have to settle though, right? Is that pretty much where we're at, Dre?
It's a trap.
That's it. That's what that is. Okay. No, that's not true at all. Okay. Mickey's Mixed Magic. If I never have to see that show again, I'll be a happy man. Okay. Look, here's my thing with Mickey's Mixed Magic real fast. Okay. I understand operationally it's really nice to have, especially a fireworks show doesn't take over the entire park, right? They don't have to shut down the monorail or the train or whatever. It's great, right? Can we just get maybe like a different show that takes that place? Mickey's Mixed Magic, I don't know. It just has never appealed to me. I might be an old fuddy-duddy. I might be somebody who that's never going to appeal to. Whatever, I get it, fine. But I think we can move past that, right? We can move past that show.
Absolutely.
Disneyland Forever. While it's not my favorite show, I always have a special place in my heart for Remember because it's like a dedication of the park, right? Forever is actually really good, and to my surprise, they brought back pretty much everything forward. I was shocked.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you, by the way, that Remember Dreams Come True is still the GOAT of all fireworks shows. And the way that they incorporated the fireworks, the technology to tell each story of each land, like, they would have lasers and stuff, and then and it would like hit the buildings on Main Street, and the pyro would go off during the Star Tours stuff, right?
Yes.
And then they would use like the comets as cannonballs for Pirates of the Caribbean. They utilized technology that they already had in really, really creative, brilliant ways. That show is really like a master class on how to do a good fireworks show. It's like freaking perfect. But Disneyland Forever is pretty close. I love Disneyland Forever. My biggest issue with Disneyland Forever is this. It was a 60th anniversary for Disneyland when that premiered. Yeah. And the beginning of that show was near perfection when they're talking about the orange groves, right? The orange groves, and if you were standing here over 60 years ago, you'd be standing in the middle of an orange grove. But one visionary man stood right where you are today and envisioned a magic kingdom. This man was Walt Disney. I love that. Gives me goosebumps every single time. The crowd loves it when they have the Walt Disney on the castle, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It just gets you right in the feels. But then they transition from that, which is very park heavy, into like kind of like this generic, like we're gonna go through all the Disney IP systematically. And it just look, the show is great in the middle with the Little Mermaid and Jungle Book. It's great. Tangled, right? Great. I just wish they would have kind of like what they did with Remember Dreams Come True, kind of extended like this homage to the park.
Yeah,
that's my only issue with it. Now the end, once you get to the outro, the very finale, they get back into the whole park stuff and Walt Disney, And that's fantastic. It's just that middle part where they just focus on the movies. Every single fireworks show, every single parade has these movies in them. I just wish for the 60th, they would have spent a little more time being a little more park focused. And that's my really only critique of the show. And look, to be fair, the IP stuff they do is really great. It's just for the 60th, wanted more park stuff.
Yeah, I do agree. If you're going to be celebrating the 60th of any, of these theme parks, it really probably should be based on the actual park itself, right? Walt Disney World 50th, but that's a whole different story. Now, I think the idea was, okay, let's do something a little bit more timeless for Disneyland for this fireworks show, and then let's do the actual, dedication to the actual parks themselves over at World of Color. You'll remember that World of Color had a 60th themed show as well for that celebration, correct? And that went through your park attractions and so forth. It was with who was hosting it? It was
Doogie Howser. I don't remember. Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris. There you go. Sorry, couldn't remember his name. Look, when the lights are on, you gotta your brain goes empty. But Neil Patrick Harris hosted that one, and that kind of went through your attractions, right? Yeah. Had a whole Cars Land segment and so forth. I did appreciate that. I just would have liked to have seen it integrated into the fireworks show itself, like you said, because I don't know, every single show, Nighttime Spectacular deals with the movies. It's nice to see something that deals with the parks just a little bit, that kind of thing. Love the intro, like you said. Oh, go ahead.
No, the intro is fantastic. The World of Color one, and man, I sound like such a complainer, but with the World of Color one, it was like you said, I appreciate all the the Disneyland. It was very Disneyland focused.
Sure.
In the content, and that was great. But the problem with that show,
I think I know what you're gonna say.
It just felt like the Oscars on water.
Yeah.
You had this guy, Neil Patrick Harris, who I love, by the way. Neil Patrick Harris is awesome. This guy's dope. I love him.
Huge park fan, by the way.
A huge park fan. He's awesome. This is not his fault, It just the way the show was structured, it felt like a presentation at the Oscars. He's standing there in a suit, and it's it just doesn't work on water screens and stuff. It just didn't. It just didn't work. But
they have him in a Splash Mountain log going down, and it was a little I don't think this works too well.
Yeah, well, hey, our buddy Theme Park Casual says my favorite is Believe There's Magic in the Stars.
Yeah.
Casual. I'm right up there with you, buddy, with that one. That one is one of the greatest fireworks shows. Man, that's up there with Remember. That really is. I mean, that was a really good one. Have you checked that one out, Dre?
You know what? I haven't seen that in a long time, but that was a great one. We had a run where we were just getting fireworks show after fireworks show after fireworks show, and each one was better than the other. But Believe, definitely. I mean, that was an absolutely spectacular show. We got Magical in the lineup as well. Yeah. That had some great segments in it too. Yeah, Remember the difficult thing about Remember and why it felt too long and why it had those kind of awkward segments. It was a mashup of something new with something that existed, which was Wishes over in Magic Kingdom. So that's why Remember had that kind of Wishes, tags in the beginning, at the end. It was a little weird. It made the show, I agree with you, Theme Park Casual, maybe a little bit too long, maybe a little bit unnecessary. I do agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, there were some issues with Remember here and there. The Fantasyland segment, I wasn't a huge fan of.
Yeah, they took out the Big Thunder segment later on, which was a great one. I would have preferred that be saved rather than the Fantasyland segment. I agree with you.
Yeah, the Fantasyland segment, which is weird because you think that would be more in Disney's wheelhouse. There's a lot of princess IP in there they could work with, and it could really make something great. That was the weakest of the show, I loved, like you said, the Big Thunder segment. I loved the Star Tours, Tomorrowland stuff, Pirates, Tiki Room. All of that was just amazing,
So good. It was so good. Once the park stuff got going with the train whistle and everything, it was really quite spectacular. There's not a lot of fireworks shows that I've seen at Disneyland or any of these theme parks that could really take on that theme park, that Disneyland segment. But yeah, I mean, there were some weak parts, and there's weak parts about all these kind of shows. I'll say for this, Forever, Disneyland Forever, the Winnie the Pooh segment, that one always is a little odd. It's a little, the projections are kind of zany and kind of fun, but that one I could probably go without in terms of everything there. But listen, we got the inflatables back, which was, I did not expect that. I thought, oh, they're for sure, if they're going to cut one thing out of this parade, I'm sorry, out of this fireworks spectacular, it's going to be those inflatables. The inflatables are notorious for being hard to maintain, being very temperamental, whatever, but they brought them back. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that is cool. That is cool. And I've got to be completely honest with you. Like, I've been really surprised at how much stuff is coming back. I really thought there would be a lot more cuts. Like we talked about, I think it was just yesterday, with that Princess Fair thing that they're over there. Right? That they're bringing that back. There's just a lot more stuff coming back than I really thought would come back. And like you said, the inflatables in that show came back. That was a pleasant surprise. It's interesting. Oh, here, Casual says the New Orleans segment was the high point. The rest of the show couldn't compete after that. Well, yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Well, just had to agree to disagree there, Casual. Had to agree to disagree. Look, listen, that I'm telling you, that Star Tour segment was great, especially when it debuted. Like you said, OG, when you had the lasers shooting off and you had those explosions going behind you, that was a magical little thing. There's some strong points. There is. New Orleans Square segment was pretty hard to beat. Okay, all right, but that's my piece on it. Yeah, you were saying, as far as cuts go.
Yeah, no, I'm just surprised that there's not more. I mean, there are cuts for sure. From what I understand in Disneyland Forward, I haven't seen it in person yet, but there have been cuts in some of the pyro. Yeah, I don't know if that's Disney just being cheap, or if that's supply chain issues, or maybe a little bit of both. I don't know. But for the most part, I feel like we're seeing less cuts than at least than I expected. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I expected the inflatables, like I said, not to come back. I was expecting the lasers to come back, but that wasn't on at least the initial showing. The initial showing also didn't have the pyro for like the last, I don't know, like 2-3 minutes of the show. Like there was like no pyro at all. That usually speaks to, okay, maybe the winds changed. We have to cut them, just for safety or whatever. So that could be just a technical issue. I don't think these are actual permanent cuts. But Nemo was back, and I would have to check the film to see what other things did make it back. But overall, I mean, people were really excited to see it back, and people had good reviews, and that's great. World of Color experienced some more cuts though, from what I could tell.
Interesting. Okay, let's pivot then. Let's talk about World of Color. Well, what cuts? Because I honestly, to be quite frank, I haven't seen any video of its return. Love that show, absolutely love it, but I haven't sat down and watched anything. What exactly was cut from this?
So from what I understand, where I can see, just doing an A/B comparison from how the show is supposed to look to now, there were some fountains that still don't work. They're pretty noticeable. They're not too noticeable if you don't know what you're looking at, but they are if you do. So your mileage may vary in that. The lasers, I've not seen any of them. Maybe I could be wrong, but there are some nice effects where, a laser will spread out over the kind of surface to create some different effects, whether it be above the sea, under the sea, that kind of thing. Did not see those. And the big one that everybody's talking about is the fireball effect. The large kind of, it creates that smoke ring, that was not operational. So the word on the street is that those things are coming back with time.
Okay.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, hey, look, if they come back eventually, I'm cool with that. If they actually removed them from the platform, I'd be upset because that big fireball is a really impressive effect for the show.
It is.
And it's something that you can utilize in a million different ways. So I hope it does come back. I hope they didn't like unscrew that bad boy and put it in a box somewhere. I want to see that tech come back. So
I do.
Unfortunate.
I was hoping that World of Color, being that it was down for so long and that they actually drained the lagoon just to work on that show, I was hopeful that a lot of the technical issues that have been plaguing that show, at least in recent years, were going to be addressed, but it doesn't seem like it. Still good show. The majority of fountains did work, and everything proceeded normally as far as I could tell. But it was just kind of disappointing to see those things. But hey, you know what? Overall, I mean, DCA really does need some form of spectacular, whether it be in the form of a parade or World of Color itself. It doesn't have the Hyperion, which really hurts it in terms of value for guests. Yeah. I don't know the capacity of that theater, I must confess. I could probably look it up, but that's a significant amount of capacity that's just not present. And it's a significant part of your day. I mean, those shows would go, over 45, 50, maybe even an hour. And when that amount of entertainment is not present, it really does hurt the day at DCA. So to have World of Color back, that's a huge boon for that park especially, for on the entertainment front and capacity front.
No, 100%. And from what I understand, they didn't really add anything to it, right? It's the same show. They didn't add any new scenes, nothing like that.
No. It's the same show as it existed back in 2019, 2020.
Interesting. That's surprising because they were pre-Pandy. Mm-hmm. Disney was they were all about adding the newest IP into that show, I mean, even back in the day, I remember in like 2010, mm-hmm. Very soon after its premiere, they added the Tron Core, which is like a Tron Encore at the end, which was dope. If you guys haven't seen the Tron tag at the end of World of Color, go on YouTube, do yourself a favor, check it out. It is incredible.
One of the best tags, one of the best segments that World of Color's ever had, in my personal opinion. I was actually talking about Tron Core online, on Twitter. I was like, dude, if you haven't seen Tron Core, you haven't lived. I'm sad that they haven't integrated stuff like that into the show as time has moved forward. But you're right. Look at Enchantment. Look at Harmonious. The newest IP are part of these spectaculars. You would have thought they would have done stuff for World of Color. Does not look like it. It's the same show.
Yeah. I'm calling it now though, and maybe timelines and they didn't came into play here a little bit.
Sure, but
I'm calling it now. They will add some sort of we don't talk about Bruno segment in World of Color. It's gonna happen, y'all.
I'm fairly confident. I mean, look, listen. You have hundreds of people lining up just to see we don't talk about Bruno on the Small World facade, right? So absolutely, if you were to add that or integrate that into the various shows, whether it be Harmonious or World of Color, that'd be a huge boon to those shows. I would agree with you, probably coming, but we'll see though.
Yeah, we'll see. Now, our friend Matthew Murr says it'll probably speed up once Chapek and Demaro are gone. Matthew, you how dare you disparage our daddy Josh's name? He says hi to people in the parks, man. He's perfect. Come on now.
Yeah. He's a good-looking guy, don't you know? Like, he's honestly, he's perfect. I mean, he's a lot more perfect than...
Apologize for not being the ally that you needed me to be.
So, I don't know why you would disparage Daddy Josh's name like that.
I don't either. And speaking of the better ally that we needed him to be, Matthew says because Chapek seems focused only on the bottom line. Well, that's probably true. I mean, and I do think that Chapek is very much a numbers data guy. And look, I've always kind of had the opinion that I think Chapek is demonized far beyond what he deserves.
Yeah.
Look, is he my first choice? No, not even close.
Mm-hmm.
But do I think he's like the worst thing that's ever graced the Walt Disney Company? Absolutely not. Paul Pressler holds that title to this day. Paul Pressler was terrible. If you guys are old enough to remember Paul Pressler, Chapek looks like Walt Disney compared to Paul Pressler. We lost so much stuff at Disneyland because of Paul Pressler. You missed the People Mover, Paul Pressler.
Yeah.
He shut down the submarine voyage. Thank God we got that back, but he shut it down initially. Yeah. He shut down the Skyway. Like it was just shutting stuff down and never replacing it with anything. At least Chapek is cheap. He's bottom line driven, but at least Chapek is willing to, he's not adverse to spending money. Look, the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Cosmic Rewind, that just, I don't know if it's not open yet, but it's been kind of like soft opening, I believe.
Right.
Looks really good. It's a quality attraction. I think everyone coming out of that said, hey, this is a really good thing. And that was Chapek. That was when he ran the parks. He's not adverse to spending money. He just wants to basically, his mindset is basically, hey, if I'm going to spend this amount of money, you better bring me back triple of what I'm spending. And it's basically Chapek's thing, but he'll spend it if you can promise we'll get the return, and Pressler wasn't even like that. Pressler was like, he was just shutting things down and didn't even replace them, didn't even bother.
DCA 1.0. That's all you have to say. That was Pressler's Park, and a very restaurant heavy, attractionless, focused theme park. And even Paul gets a bad rep in some aspects, but overall, there were some lean years after Indiana Jones opened. Believe me, folks, I lived them, and it's like, more, sir? Can we get some more? It's like, no, absolutely not. No, you want another Indiana Jones adventure? Here's Superstars Limit. Yeah, exactly right. It's
what, we'll have a coupon day or something.
If that guy ran theme parks, okay, that's your boy Paul Pressler right there. Put it that way.
No, 100%. Chapek has his issues for sure, but he's definitely not. He's definitely not as bad as Pressler. Oh, here, Joe in the land says, when I was a cast member, Pressler scolded me for leaning on the wall.
Yikes, yikes, yeah. It's interesting. It's funny because I've talked to cast members, and you would think like he would be that master as opined there, and look, I'm not disagreeing with your experience at all. Not a fan of him, not defending him. But then you have other cast members who are like, oh yeah, he was real nice, he was real friendly. I remember him and that kind of thing. So they, some people have some good things to say about him. Look, just as far as a fan is concerned, hey, if you want to drag Pressler's name in the mud, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to stop you at all. Okay, that guy, and honestly, some of those. Maintenance cuts were actually kind of, they did actually result in deadly consequences. So, no, I'm not here to defend Pressler. I'm just saying it's kind of weird over time how people think of people when they're removed from it, and some people have good things to say, some people have bad things to say. It's very interesting.
Well, the interesting thing too with Pressler is like I've heard the same thing. He's very charismatic. He was very a nice guy, which is I totally believe that. He seemed like a nice guy, and he seemed like a guy that would kind of talk to you or whatever. Which is funny because who does that remind you of? Tomorrow. And Tomorrow's the same kind of thing. And look, I'm not saying Tomorrow is as bad as Pressler. He is absolutely 100% not as bad as Pressler, but it just kind of shows you that just because someone is like knows how to talk to people and is friendly doesn't mean they're a good leader or a good executive or right for the role. All I'm saying, Pressler checked all the boxes when it came to good looks, personality, charismatic, but he wasn't good for that role. And Tomorrow, I think increasingly is kind of showing that as well. And then Matthew Merck chimes in with shareholders are probably the true villains, not the CEO.
I mean, some people would say that about Ike Promoter and some others, Rupert Murdoch and stuff. There might be an argument to be had there. I don't know.
I don't know.
Look, I'm a fan of stakeholders, not necessarily shareholders, right? Stakeholders are in it to win it for the long haul, where shareholders, they might be interested in profits now, but, who knows if they're actually thinking about the long-term health of the company.
Right. And our buddy Theme Park Casual says $99 annual passes. It was crazy back then. $99 isn't even the monthly payment for an annual pass right now, okay?
Oh, man, that's a good point. Oh, my God. Listen, I saw it. I lived it when Pressler came in there, and you saw the just jump in terms of price. I mean, it was severe, which was weird because they were jumping in price, but then the product diminished in quality from the lack of maintenance, budget cuts, staffing cuts, all that kind of stuff. Very strange time. It was not too dissimilar to what we're experiencing now, but far more exasperated, right? Far more extreme. It was wild.
No, it was. It was absolutely wild. I know we're diverting a little bit from entertainment, but even a thing like I know a lot of people are a lot of fans are kind of meh about Avengers Campus. It's okay. It's okay. It's true. It's not the greatest thing ever. Web Slingers is okay. I gotta tell you though, I mean, even that wouldn't have been built under Paul Pressler. Even that would have been something that would have been unheard of, under him. So, hey.
Well, look at what we did get when it came to Paul Pressler Land. I'm sorry, DCA 1.0, right? We got a tractor as an attraction. We got a tour through a tortilla factory as an attraction. Think about the things we did get. Yes, Avengers Campus, that would have been cut. I don't know how, but it would have been. Now, to be fair, and to get back to the topic of entertainment, interestingly enough, the one thing that Pressler did do was approve some entertainment type projects. We've got the Festival of Foods area that didn't last long, to be fair, but we did get some new shows throughout various venues, right? Because there weren't many things attracting people in the form of attractions, especially at Disneyland. We did get some entertainment brought into the parks. I would say maybe even more than we have now.
Well, and to Pressler's credit, and Casual mentioned this earlier, Believe Magic in the Stars was a Pressler era show, and it's to this day, and I agree with Casual, it's one of the best shows they've ever done. The pacing on it is it's so perfect. You guys, if you haven't seen it, because it's an old school show, probably like 2000, like 99, 2000. It's really old, but check it out because Casual's right. It's an incredible show, and that was Paul Pressler's era. So yeah, to your what you're saying, Dre, there were gems in that era, despite the darkness. There were some gems that kind of shine through, and Believe There's Magic in the Stars is definitely one of those gems.
Well, the most recent comment by Theme Park Casual is another gem.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
There'll be no slander of the tortilla factory here. while Casual is in the chat. Look, Masaka, right? I do have a soft spot for that tortilla factory. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of an actual attraction, I don't know if that completely qualifies. It's not it's not even like a Soarin' for that matter, right? It's a tortilla factory. Now, good tortillas. It was nice to have those fresh. It was nice to have those hot. I do agree, but I'll stick with Ghirardelli. Thank you.
Yeah, well, the thing with the thing with the whole tortilla factory is what they wanted to do, this kind of edutainment thing that kind of Epcot used to do, but they didn't want to put the money into it, so it was edutainment on a shoestring budget. Yeah, and that's kind of I understand the idea behind it, but there was no money to actually make it cool.
welcome, kids. Let's show you the process of farming. It's like oh man, it was rough. At least like edutainment as far as like Epcot goes, that was actually pretty good. But for DCA, yeah, Maseka. Do you remember that part, OG?
Oh
you know what
yeah,
I'm talking about?
I remember it. Yeah, no. Hey, look, I
see
enjoyed
deep cuts, but you get it.
Deep
you
cuts,
know.
Deep cuts. Old school DCA. And the funny thing is like now that DCA is sort of fleshed out a little bit with Cars Land and various other things, Little Mermaid, we got Avengers Campus. Now something like a Tortilla Factory wouldn't be so bad because in addition to some really high quality stuff in the park, the problem with the Tortilla Factory, sorry, casual, initially was that it was the star of the show. It was the only fucking thing you can do in the park. That's the problem. In addition to right now, it would be great. It'd be absolutely great. It was just there was no other rides. There
was nothing. It's crazy. So somebody took I was watching some vlogger and they took the camera to the map that's in Buena Vista Street right now, and you look at the map for DCA and you just think, whoa, like I still can't believe how much it's actually bloomed as a park, right?
Yeah.
Think about it. No Bugs Land, no Adventures Campus, that's for sure. No Tower of Terror, no Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, no Cars Land, right? No Toy Story Midway Mania. All these things were birthed after the park actually opened. And so for that 20 years or so that the park's been around, I got to be honest. I mean, they really did add quite a bit, which speaks to, maybe how even executives felt about DCA when it first opened, right? But how that park has matured, it's been really, really impressive, So you got to give them credit on that front.
No, you do. DCA has really grown into a really solid second gate, a really solid sister park for Disneyland. I think it has a really bright future. There's a lot of potential there, a ton of potential. I've always had more. I got to be honest with you, Dre and chat. I got to be honest with you guys, and gals, guys and gals. I got to be honest with you. I have more fun with the DCA stuff in terms of speculating about that park and what that park is getting than I do Disneyland. Because DCA, it's fun watching the underdog crawl his way up a little bit, right? Disneyland is like the A+++ student who never gets even a B+ on their exams. It's always perfect. It's kind of boring, DCA though is like scrappy, it's fighting, it's trying to work its way up. Kind of why a lot of people probably like Universal too. I mean, that's a fair thing to say. I mean, that's kind of that same argument, that underdog, that kind of scrappiness. I don't know, man. I don't know. Oh, here, it says here, Matthew Murr says, it baffles me how the parks focused on Frozen 2 when it came out, but not Cinderella 3, which is considered one of the best sequels. Bit of a double standard there. Well, Matthew, I think the reason for that is Frozen is just a juggernaut of a franchise. I mean, huge. I mean, it's $1 billion franchise in and of itself. Cinderella, while very iconic, and I've never seen Cinderella 3, I can't speak on that particular movie. It's just not on the same level. I like money-wise. That's all I'm saying. Money-wise, Frozen is just a beast. It's an absolute beast, and they're gonna put everything into Frozen. They just are.
Speaking of that, it's kind of weird because I don't know if anybody can see this stuff behind me, but the two things I have back here, it's interesting, is Frozen 2 and Cinderella. That's the weirdest thing. I don't know.
Wow.
That's some eagle eye stuff right there.
That's great.
But look, listen, Frozen 2, like you said, it's a huge juggernaut. And yeah, speaking of entertainment too, to get Frozen in DCA in the Hyperion, I don't know, that show when it debuted was actually pretty decent. It was pretty decent. Was it better than Aladdin? Probably not. It was more technically impressive for sure. And I like how they actually redid the entire theater in order to in order to take advantage of the space and in order to bring out the show's best qualities. The projection, background's pretty cool. Like there's some really great technical elements of Frozen, but compared to Aladdin had a little bit more legs. Obviously, us from the genie or whatever, but Frozen itself was actually pretty good when it first debuted. So, it doesn't really answer Matthew Moore's statement, but I liked it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And a friend of the channel, Peter Vasquez. Hey, Peter, thank you, brother, for joining us. It's good to see you, man. He says some of my best Disney memories have been made at DCA. More elbow room and freedom to drink, yes, while waiting in lines for rides. DCA has grown into a good complement to the resort. No, I agree with you, Peter. I absolutely agree with you. And I've always been an advocate for alcohol in the parks. I think that a lot of fans are kind of married to this kind of like thing that the mindset Walt had in like the 50s, and I think they need to kind of look, society changes, things change, things evolve. When Walt created Disneyland, it was acceptable to smoke in the parks. You could smoke anywhere you wanted when he created Disneyland. Now it's no longer acceptable. Smoking has changed in the eyes of society. And I think drinking has as well, just in the opposite way, And I think Disney handles drinking in the parks very well. I don't anecdotally, and maybe some people see other things, but I don't see a lot of issues with a lot of drunkards and people causing issues because they're drunk. I see a lot of people at the bar drinking, having a good time, having conversations. They handle it very, very well. I personally have seen, bartenders, cut people off, and the cast members do just a great job at really kind of regulating that. I got no issues with it, and I enjoy it. I love going to DCA and having a cocktail, having a drink. It's the only way I'll get on the Mickey's Fun Wheel. I mean, come on.
Yeah, especially those gondolas that swing, right? That's definitely a good time, I suppose. Look, listen, I do agree with you. OG, we've had this conversation many times.
Yeah.
I think drinking's okay. I think if you play your cards correctly, and in Disney's past, I think they have overall. There's been examples where people have kind of maybe had a little bit too much to drink, but overall, I think they've handled it really, really well. And yeah, I think Disneyland should join DCA in allowing for a beverage or two. So that's kind of my feeling on it. DCA as a whole, I love how it's a distinct, unique flavor from Disneyland. Right. It wouldn't be appropriate to have another Disneyland, right? But the way California Adventure's matured and the variety of attractions that they have right in there, it's a great little park, and like you said, an incredible future that is really, really bright. And I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, me too. And Theme Park Casual says back to entertainment, red car trolley shows. Yes, amen, Casual. Just bring back the red car trolley. I even made a joke yesterday, and I was joking, Chapek, do not do this. But I said that, maybe they should just monetize the trolley to bring them back faster, make it like a rolling bar. I don't know. But hey, you know what? I'm just kidding. Just bring them back, though. The trolley adds so much to DCA. And the trolley shows, the trolley shows were so good. The the Newsboys, right? I think it was.
Yeah. It was kind of based on that, suitcase and a dream, that kind of thing. I liked it. It really kind of played into Buena Vista Street as a whole, right? It was very Buena Vista Street centric, and I really, really dug it, And you, of course, you have Mickey in his costume right there that goes along with it. The red car trolley does make does play a role in that whole thing. I'm really hoping to see that back. I mean, that one was a really great one.
Yeah, 100%. And the whole like California, here I come. It was really tied into the theme of the park. It was just phenomenal. Phenomenal. I do want to give a quick, because a lot of people are joining us now. I just want to give a quick little update. In a little bit, we're going to be doing a little trivia game. And I'll be giving away this popcorn bucket, little Elliot. So we're gonna do some entertainment questions, and whoever gets the most questions right will win the bucket. So just want to let you know, for those joining us right now, we will be doing that in a little bit. So it says here, Mr. Casual says again here, DCA does great with entertainment, from small stage stuff to separate ticket events. They are absolute top tier. I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Casual, I think that in a lot of ways, DCA sort of surpasses Disneyland. Honestly, I find New Year's Eve at Disneyland to be kind of boring. I mean, like, do you really not want to drink on New Year's Eve? like
I've heard this, yes.
Unless you're like a Club 33 member or something, or you got reservations like 60 days in advance for Oga's, probably not going to get a drink at Disneyland. DCA, it's everywhere, and hey, it definitely has a better New Year's Eve vibe. Like you said, the small stage stuff, the separate ticket events, all top notch. But what do you think, Dre?
Oh no, I generally agree. Look, Disneyland as a venue is really, really cool when you can do special events there. But, let's be honest, the park really wasn't built just for that, right? DCA is a little bit different. You got the Hyperion right there, which is a fantastic venue for just about any show that you can possibly put on. But even the smaller stuff, people forget Minnie's Fly Girls. Remember that little show that used to exist right next to Soarin', Maybe not the best digs in the world, but hey, that show was really, really charming, really, really great. You've gotten, with events like what is it, Food and Wine? You've gotten like little what is it, like little shows dedicated to the various cultures and regions around the world. That's really, really cool, dotted around the pier and so forth. The Red Car Charlie show, like that. And you just got a lot of great stuff from Disney California Adventure. Oh, also too, World of Color. I mean, it's an amazing venue for that show in particular. No, I dig the entertainment at DCA, and they've been doing a real great job. Arguably, like you said, better than Disneyland has, especially in recent years.
Yeah, there was rumors years ago, and I think it was Mice Chat. It was a Mice Chat update, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I'm not 100%, but I believe it was Mice Chat. There was a rumored Marvel parade that was going to come to DCA. I would love to see something like that, just a crazy parade, like with a giant Hulk, and like just all the cool stuff you could do with Marvel would be really fun at DCA. I think it'd be really, really neat. And they never followed through with it. But even like a nighttime parade based on Marvel would be dope. Oh,
that would be cool.
Witch and all her magic, and how that would be. It would be really cool in a nighttime parade form.
Well, when it comes to Imagineering and your amazing IP that you would like to see integrated into the parks, no, we can't have nice things. So unfortunately, that is never going to happen. That's the really unfortunate part. Oh, you want to see characters walking around Star Wars Galaxy's Edge? Oh, pleb.
Yeah.
We can't have that. So
no, exactly. And like I was at Disneyland like a little while ago, a week ago or something, and I saw R2-D2 in Galaxy's Edge, and it was like
so cool.
Yeah, it changed the whole energy of the land. It's amazing how that little droid just changed the whole vibe, right? And I'm like, wow. I mean, if this little guy, who I love R2, okay, he's like, come on, let's be honest, he's like the hero of the entire saga. He saves everyone's ass like a million times, But just seeing him there was like, wow, this changed it. And could you imagine if they had him along with like the Max Rebo band and alien musicians and all kinds of cool stuff there? It would be an incredible experience. I don't know what the problem is. It seems that it's more of a Lucasfilm problem than it is an Imagineering problem, because Avengers Campus seems to be doing just fine with entertainment. Lucasfilm is like so freaking married to their stupid timelines. It's ridiculous, but
it's the dumbest thing ever.
They got to get more. They got to get more entertainment in there. They got to get more droids in there. They got to get more stuff in there.
I can't remember the event it was for, but there was a time when like C-3PO was walking around Star Wars Galaxy's Edge with R2, and that was a really cool sight to see. It was like, wow, and that changed the whole atmosphere of the land. It's interesting. Friend of the channel, Bricky, over there at Adventures in Design, actually has a new video going over the kind of the changes and updates to Disneyland. Talks about a lot of topics, but one of them is Star Wars Night, the upcoming event for May the 4th. And the speculation, because this is really the first time that we've been able to enjoy May the 4th or any of these Star Wars nights with an open Galaxy's Edge. The big speculation is that, hey, maybe we get some characters walking around and doing stuff in Galaxy's Edge proper for the first time ever via this event. I think that would be really, really cool. I mean, there are so many balconies. There's so many... That Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, that venue really was built to accompany live performers and live acts and shows and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that what is it, Dolby Atmos sound system that they have in there wasn't just for ships that sounded like they were flying overhead, but they could be these kind of mini venues, and create these sonic soundscapes to go along with this, with the entertainment that was supposed to be there. Very cool stuff. We just haven't really seen it used. So, man, if they can really kind of leverage the infrastructure that's already built there at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, at least for Star Wars Night, that would be really cool.
Oh, it'd be amazing. And I don't understand it. Like, Disney is all about, let's be honest, like they're all about the almighty dollar, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to squeeze every dime out of you. It's fine. It's fine. They're a business. I get it. I respect it. I understand it. I get it.
Right.
But they do all this stuff to kind of finagle and get every dime, right? And then they have this guy right here who is an absolute walking money printing machine. And they say, you know what? Nah, we're just not going to have him in Galaxy's Edge. Nah, we'll pass. I don't understand it. Disney, if you had him in Galaxy's Edge, the photo pass money could pay for a third park. What are you doing?
I honestly, OG, I don't get this at all. I don't understand it, because it's like you have this you have this segment of this hot franchise that you paid $4 billion for, that is the hottest thing since sliced bread. Everybody wants to see Grogu. And that goes for the show, but it extends to the theme parks as well. Everybody wants to see Mando. Everybody wants to see these new characters that are coming out. And there's no cross-pollination at all. There's no, what do they call it? They have a term for it. It's synergy, right? There's no synergy at all. There's no integration. And it's like, why? Why do you do this? You have this amazing venue that is Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. You can't fit a Grogu meet and greet in any of that, right? You have a room that's not being used that was supposed to be used for the Legends of Frontierland a la Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. It's actually right across from Oga's, completely closed off. You could have a meet and greet in there. You could do it. The fact that they don't, it just boggles the mind. This is the obvious play. This is what everybody wants. Nope, can't do it. Sorry. We're going to be married to the timeline. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Chapek talked a lot of game like a few years ago about how like other companies don't have what Disney has in terms of IP. And look, I agree with him. Disney has a library of IP that's unmatched. And they have like I said, a money printing machine with Grogu. And they just sit on it. Universal would kill to have something like this. They've been milking the Minion thing for like 20 years, okay?
Yes.
They would die for that. Disney, utilize him. Put him in your land. Don't listen to Kathleen Kennedy. Get rid of the timeline and just put him in there. Trust me, you won't be disappointed with the returns. I guarantee it.
Great IP means nothing if you don't leverage it at least a little bit. It's open to that, and they don't. I don't understand it. Yeah, a coffee with Grogu photo op, no brainer. Yeah, there you go, perfect. I mean, no, there's all kinds of stuff you can do.
Yeah, and Epic Berserker, friend of the channel. He's been Epic Berserker has been watching the channel like since like pretty much like the first year or first few months I started. When I used to do like solo videos all the time. Yeah. And so I appreciate you, Epic, man. You've been with me for a very long time, dude. But it says here, my boys keep putting up the big fight, big props always. Well, thank you, Epic. And we appreciate you. You, like I said, you've been a friend of the channel for many, many years. And you always have family here at OG55 Epic. We love you, brother. We love you, man.
Awesome. Really, really great stuff. That's great. You know, the amount of viewers and that we have, the comments that we receive, it's so heartwarming. So thank you all. I mean, it's really great for our long-term subscribers or commenters or viewers. Thank you.
Yeah, it means a lot. It means a lot. Now, before we get into our little trivia thing, let's dive in. We haven't really touched upon Fantasmic. Now, I know we are going to be doing a big Fantasmic show with Theme Park Casual. We're going to be comparing 1.0 to 2.0, and maybe there might even be a 3.0, depending on what version premieres at the end of May. We don't know. There might be some change.
That's true.
There might even be a 3.0. So we're going to wait on that video until that premieres. But for now, Fantasmic is going to be premiering, I believe, on May 28th.
Yeah.
Dre, what are your overall thoughts about the return of the king?
Yeah, exactly, right? I echo your sentiments. Look, Fantasmic is a huge deal. I remember when it opened, you know, we've had this discussion before, obviously. If you don't know what we're referring to, go back with our video with Theme Park Casual. We go into that kind of how we felt about Fantasmic when it first opened. Big deal. It was a big deal for the entire resort. Big deal for fans. It really changed the West End and brought it to kind of an all-day venue. You know, attractions in the day and this show at night. And it really is incredible. It was a game changer for entertainment, for WDI, for the park itself. Like I said, this is great. Great to hear that it's coming back. Great to see that they actually did do some updates. Looks like they're redoing the lighting towers on the shore side, and then when you actually get into the venue itself, it looks like they've replaced the projectors that are down below. That are not the projectors, the mist screens. Sorry, the mist screens that the projectors actually display on. And honestly, that actually has some significance, because the clearer you can get, you know, those mist screens to be, the clearer the image will be. You know, that the flatter you get them to be, and the more uniform you get them to be, the clearer the image will be. So, big deal there. We'll have to see about other technical upgrades for this show, but it's a massive deal. And again, from what I understand, they're going to be doing the two-show format like they have in years past, which is great. Cool. We were kind of worried maybe it's going to be one, but they're going back to two. Good stuff there. My speculation, however, we've seen them do this at World of Color, right? So World of Color has this. It's kind of like this premium offering where I think it's like $90 a person. You get a series of desserts and then like included drinks, and you can kind of experience that show. I think they might be doing the same thing over in Fantasmic, utilizing Pelican's Landing. What do you think about this, OG? Is that possible?
Yeah, very possible. I think it's very, very possible. I think that and not even just possible. I think it's probably likely. Like you said, we're seeing a similar thing being done over at the other park. I would imagine it's going to be kind of a uniform. They're going to do it at Disneyland.
Yeah, that was kind of my feeling about it as well. I've had a theory for a long time now that it's just interesting how, out of all the projects that we've seen announced in the Chapek era, one of those was Pelican's Landing, and it kind of came out of nowhere. And my feeling is, that's probably for when Fantasmic comes back, and they leverage the area for that. I could almost bet money on it. I think they will do that here. Hasn't been announced yet, but I think that's what's going to happen for that. But now this is kind of different here because, previously in shows past, you just showed up before the show, claimed your spot, and you saw it, right? Well, obviously, you do have some hardcore APs who lay down their stakes very early in order to catch the first showing of that show. So what they decided to do was implement kind of a show pass, fast pass system where you actually got a ticket in the morning to see that show and get, reserved areas and so forth. But now that you're going to do virtual queues, we've seen that for World of Color just recently, and now we're going to see that for Fantasmic when that show opens. What do you think about that?
Here's the thing. I actually like that. And because I think that the camping out thing has been a real eyesore and a problem for the park for decades. And now we finally have technology to sort of alleviate that issue. It's all in the same vein as like the strollers in the park and all that stuff. Like it's all that kind of like just clutter kind of, thing. And I just feel like, okay, if you can minimize all that, if you can minimize people camping out, and just have them show up when it's showtime. And I think that benefits the park, both in terms of like just kind of crowd control. I also think it benefits the park just aesthetically. It was always kind of unsightly to see like literal, like almost,
like blankets.
Right, like these little tent cities in front of on Main Street for waiting for the parades or in front of Fantasmic or whatever. It just feels like, okay, I don't know. I'm glad they're addressing that. I know there's kind of like this thing right now, like the virtual stuff. People don't really like it too much. I think in this particular circumstance, though, I think it's a benefit. I think they needed to do something, and this is the best way to solve that solution. But what do you think in terms of just overall? Do you like it? Not so much.
You heard it, folks. OG Skid Row across Rivers of America. There you go. Right? No. I do agree with you that it was a little bit unseemly, and yes, operationally can be a huge deal, right? So they had to do something. My feeling is, with the reservation system and how it's implemented and the changes to the annual pass holder program, I don't think it would be as big of a deal as it was in previous years.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not really like a huge fan of the whole thing. Because I just think you're favoring people who are gonna be there in the morning, may not make it to showtime. Shouldn't we prioritize people who are actually there at showtime rather than the people who may not end up being there coming from the morning? I don't know. It's difficult to say because obviously operationally there's a reason why they do this, right? And I do agree with you, OG. It's kind of better for everyone that they do it this way. Is there a more, elegant solution to doing this? Could you have that, that virtual queue window that starts at noon? Could you push that back and favor some people who want to see the show right before showtime? I don't know. It's not optimum in my opinion, but again, this is not Epcot. This is not the Magic Kingdom. We have to be realistic about these kind of things because our venues are so small and we have so many more people, kind of per acre, right? So yeah, you kind of have to do it this way, and this is probably the fairest way to do it.
Yeah, and there's always going to be some degree of, I don't want to say favoritism, but kind of like some degree of like advantage, whatever system you put in. Whether it be this, which favors people that show up early, or whether it be a first come first serve, which is also kind of favoring people that show up early. It's kind of like you're always going to have some kind of element of an advantage. Some people that just do like wake up early or get there first are always going to have the advantage. There's always that element, whatever system you use.
Sure.
So I just think that I don't know. I mean, hopefully they use the system and they sort of tweak it and adjust it based on what works, what doesn't, and we get a really good solid system. And if they can figure something else out too with the stroller situations in these areas, I think we would be doing great.
Stroller. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say our buddy is taken out, so just want to say, Casual, we love you, brother.
Thank you for coming on. Your commentary was delightful.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Dre. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say the stroller issue, that's going to be one that's going to need to be solved here eventually. I don't know quite how you do it. I don't know how you broach that thing. Obviously, they've tried to, and in previous years, most notably, they limited the size of strollers a few years back, right? That was a big deal, but now people have kind of gotten around that and stuff like that. Something's going to need to happen on that front. I just don't know what that's going to be.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into some trivia.
Absolutely.
Like I mentioned earlier in the show, we're going to do a little trivia.
Mhm.
There's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. Whoever gets either all of them or the majority of them will win the Elliott popcorn bucket right here.
There it is. The
There it is.
one, the only, infamous Elliott popcorn bucket.
There he is. So I'm going to go through a series of questions, and whoever is the first to answer it correctly will get that question, and whoever has the most questions correct wins the bucket. So without further ado, let's dive right in. And the first question is, what year did the Main Street Electrical Parade glow away initially? What year did the Main Street Electrical Parade glow away initially? Now, this was when, remember, this parade is like a cat. It's had more lives than you wouldn't even believe. And there was initially a time when we were told from Disney that this thing would never come back. Mm-hmm. What year was that? So while we wait for the answer to come in, Dre, without giving away the answer, but
sure.
What are your thoughts on this parade glowing away? And here we are again.
Very controversial. Very controversial. People were upset, man. They were not thrilled about this legendary parade stepping off. For indefinitely. But hey, good things do return, and looks like Red Nova's got it. Looks like he does. Looks like that's going to be 1996. And the reason that date's really interesting, just to kind of put a historical spin on this, is remember at that time we had Indiana Jones opening in 1995, and the idea was, okay, well, we want to replace the Main Street Electrical Parade with a new show, that being Light Magic, or Light Tragic as it's been commonly known as. But you had Indiana Jones coming in 1995. Then you had New Tomorrowland coming out in 1998. So that's where they placed it. 1996, you could have the parade go, the electrical parade go down, and the new parade would go in the summer of 1997. And that didn't work out too well, and the rest is history.
All right, here we go. We're going to go to question number 2. Mm-hmm. What was the name of this dance party that ran at DCA in 2010? What was the name of this dance party that ran in 2010?
I should have had something for this. Maybe next time I'll have like a music or something. But hey, I don't know.
Pay attention, it's showtime.
There you go. Showtime.
Now I gotta say,
mm-hmm.
I absolutely loved this particular party.
Really?
This was the first foray sort of into this sort of thing for DCA. And I absolutely loved it. Now, Epic Berserker said Mad Tea Party. No, unfortunately, Epic, that's not what this particular show was, unfortunately. And looks like A's Art got it. Glowfest.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Glowfest. A's Art has it. Glowfest.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Red Nova and A's Art. Both of them tied. They each got a point.
I remember when this, I believe it was Al Lutz that came out with his article and suggested that GloFest was going to be, operationally it did kind of end up this way, but it was going to be, hey, while people are waiting for the show, and they were going to do this kind of, I believe they did do a fast pass. That was the first implementation of a fast pass type system for these shows, at least at the Disneyland Resort. While you were waiting, you could take part in GloFest, and that's what started this whole trend of these kind of dance parties that you would see at Disney. Now, interestingly, this was not done by Disneyland's entertainment department. This was done by an outside firm, and people still love it to this day. Like you said, OG, this was your favorite of those.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. The energy with GloFest was unmatched. They used to have to kick off the night, like when the sun started to set, they'd have these Bollywood dancers, and it was just so much fun. I loved it. Everyone always talks about electronica, which was great. Aesthetically, electronica was so dope. But I think that GloFest was ugly as sin. Let's be honest. It was
terrible looking. In the day, it looked really bad.
Really bad. But the energy, I think, is still the best of the dance parties. And obviously, electronica was the best in terms of aesthetics. Absolutely.
Love electronica.
Yep.
Love electronica. I wish they would have applied that to all of Tomorrowland, but say Levy.
Yep. All right. So here we go. This is going to be, let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. Kind of give a little visual.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What anniversary was Disneyland celebrating when the Party Gras Parade debuted? What anniversary was Disneyland celebrating when the Party Gras Parade debuted?
This one's an interesting one. I would have trouble with this one.
Red Nova got it. The 35th anniversary.
The 35th anniversary.
Red Nova's on fire.
Woo! Man, nice work. Listen, this was a huge. People still talk about this parade to this day. This was a huge production. These inflatables were massive, and they just towered over. Main Street and you had this confetti and stuff like that, which was kind of a first for Disneyland, parade celebrations. It was a pretty great time. Interestingly, I think it also featured, OG, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it also featured a very popular character at that time that we don't really get to see that much of today, Roger Rabbit.
It did feature Roger Rabbit. It did. This parade was Red Nova is absolutely correct. It was the 35th anniversary of Disneyland, 1990. So it was fresh off the heels of the Roger Rabbit success in, I believe, 1988. And oh God, I love Roger Rabbit, and anything with him in it is a win in my book. Look at this. This is a celebration, guys. Mm-hmm. You want to talk? Look, this is the thing. Okay. Look what Disney World is doing right now for their 50th, and compare that to what this is.
Mm-hmm.
There's no comparison. Come on, Disney, get it together, right, man. This is an incredible thing. This is a party. This is a celebration. There's people in the streets. There's confetti everywhere. There's giant balloons. This is a party, a celebration. The 50th for Disney World just feels like,
it's a merchandise event.
Right. Exactly.
It's solo effort, solo energy. It really is a shame too. So many years went into that, and that's what you got. And in the case of this, for Disneyland's 35th anniversary, which is a shame.
No, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. All right, so here we go. We're going to continue
on. When it ran, that's crazy.
Right?
Wow.
Right? All right, here we go. Red Nova in the lead. Next question. What year did Disneyland's current dragon in Fantasmic make its debut? What year did Disneyland's current dragon in Fantasmic make its debut?
Now, are we talking about, can I mention the name?
The new dragon.
Mm-hmm.
The new one.
The new one. It goes by a nickname.
Yes, and you can mention the nickname. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. This is going to be Murphy, right?
That is correct. That is correct.
Right.
The new dragon. Tanisha Burks. Very close, Tanisha. Very, very close, but not quite. Not quite. Very, very close though, Tanisha. Oh, and A's art got it.
There it is.
He got it. We have a tie game here. We have A's art for 2, and we got Red Nova for 2. Woo. It's coming down to the wire, guys.
Coming down the wire. Look, and you'll remember, folks, that this version of this dragon came out as part of Summer Night-tastic.
Yeah.
And what they redid Electrical Parade for DCA, and we got the Murphy. I believe Magical also debuted as well during that time period. And look, I will say, all the advertisements featured the dragon. All the promos, all the commercials, everything featured the dragon. And unfortunately, Murphy never made her debut. For as long as Summer Night-tastic actually went along, and it was really, really unfortunate. The reason why, just so many technical issues trying to get that to be consistent. And I guess they also had an accident. That was a big speculation that kept her from being, from debuting during Summer Night-tastic. Really unfortunate, but what we got, everybody. I mean, if people didn't favor Disneyland's Fantasmic before as compared to Walt Disney World, they do now.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was almost unfair.
Yeah.
Like for Disneyland to even get that dragon. It already had the advantage, and then they just mic drop the hell out of it with the dragon. Absolutely insane.
Great stuff.
All right. So let's do our next question. I'm going to actually share my screen. And then I'm going to ask here, what decade did America on Parade premiere? Now, I don't need the exact year. Just give me the decade. That's all I need is the decade. What decade did America on Parade premiere?
To give people an idea about this, this was one of the longest parades that Disney's ever done in its history. And there it is. Oh, I got one for this one.
It's called a salute to all nations, but mostly America.
There you go, right there, right? The America on Parade. This one was huge. And then, yes, it was for the 1970s. I don't know. Okay. I'll just tell you. I was going to put a question in the chat, but I'll just tell you. This was part of the America's bicentennial. Remember, 1776 in the 1970s. Most recently, that was 200 years, and this was a fantastic celebration shared across Disney parks as it existed at that time. The America segment, as far as part of the tag to the electrical water pageant out in Walt Disney World, that's where that comes from, was from the America's bicentennial celebration. This parade, obviously the one you're looking at right here, huge parade. I mean, the most floats, I think, that any parade that Disneyland's ever done, which is a feat because in order to fit it back there where it needs to go up Main Street, that's that's not easy. But also you had America Sings. In where previously Carousel of Progress was, and those figures from America Sings still live with us today in Splash Mountain. But Disney went all out for this. Also, too, we just talked about Main Street Electrical Parade, right? The tag on the end of that was inspired by the bicentennial. That's where the America unit came from.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah, there was a huge push for the Americana during that bicentennial, as we see here, like we saw with the float, Electrical Parade. It was a completely different environment than today, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So right now, just to kind of give you guys an update,
Mm.
We have Red Nova
Mhm.
with 2 points.
Mhm.
We have A's Art with 2 points.
Mhm.
And Tanisha Burks came in with 1 point. So no one's a winner yet. We got to keep going. We got to keep going.
Gotta keep going.
We got to keep going. And I do have another question here for you guys. Let me just go ahead and do that real quick. Go ahead, Ray.
Did we do we need to come up with more questions?
I actually came up with one while we were discussing this.
Oh,
last
good.
one. Yeah,
Good. Okay.
You guys are doing a little better than we thought. Like this is actually a tight race. So I'll keep churning them out. As long as you need to go. The first person to hit 3 correct is the winner. Okay, basically. So
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. Name of DCA's first parade. The name of DCA's first parade.
Oh, this is interesting. We gotta have some kind of music. I have music from the parks on my phone. I just don't want to get copyrighted, and I don't want the stream to go down. I don't want to risk it.
You know what? Hold on 1 second. I think Tanisha Burke says I think Red Nova got it a second before me. And you know what? She's right. Red Nova did get it a second before her.
Oh.
She's right. Well, Tanisha, I appreciate your honesty with that. Thank you. That would make Red Nova our winner. You're absolutely correct, Tanisha. Red Nova is our winner today, folks. But hey, you know what? Just for the kicks, if you can go ahead and answer that.
yeah, go ahead. I think Peter Vasquez got it.
There it is. Eureka. Absolutely. Eureka is out for it.
That's it.
There we go. Peter, you got it. So our winner today of the popcorn bucket is Red Nova. Red Nova, congratulations. I'm going to actually give you right now. Give me 1 second, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Give me just 1 second.
Yeah, you might want to.
I'm going to be giving my email to Mr. Nova. So, Red Nova, if you can email me your address, I will ship this bad boy to you right away. So go ahead, Red Nova, and email me. I have the email on the screen. Email me your address. I will ship that to you ASAP. You are the winner of the Elliott Popcorn Bucket. So, fantastic work, Mr. Nova. Fantastic work.
I was excited. I was wanting to talk about Eureka. No,
but hey, we can still talk about it.
Well, let's give Red Nova all the congratulations that he deserves right there. That's some good work right there. That's some, these questions were tricky even for me. So pretty great stuff right there. Let's I don't know if I have anything celebratory or anything at all. Let's just do the there you go right there. That's your that's your celebratory chime right there. Great stuff, Red Nova. Thank you for everybody participating. This has been phenomenal. I think it actually turned out to be even more successful than I thought. So this is great. This is awesome. But Eureka is very, very interesting. A project by Steve Davison, which is pretty crazy to think. Now look back on his career. But no Disney characters whatsoever, no Disney music. It was all themed to California Adventure and California Adventure 1.0. So it was definitely an interesting theme at an interesting time in Walt Disney Company history. So I never saw it myself, but I would have loved to have seen the walking Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, that was out there. Yeah, it was a very interesting time.
Yeah, no, it was, and that's the one thing I loved about Michael Eisner, is that he had faith in that kind of stuff, right? And I know the general public, the normies, freaked out. Oh my God, there's no Disney characters, But I love the fact that Eisner had the balls to kind of like, hey, you know what? We're going to build a park with no characters in it. You know, we're going to have a parade with no IP in it. It's a vast difference than Bob Iger.
Man, the crazy thing when you think about it, even the Hyperion at that time featured a show that really, like it did feature some music, but really wasn't a IP-driven show. You know, it was just a different time. And yeah, Peter, that music I've heard many people have fond memories for the music in Eureka. Man, you know, it's it's just a very interesting time.
No, it absolutely was. Now I want to go back because now we're done with trivia.
Sure.
Peter said something earlier that is worth bringing up again. Let me go ahead and find that.
Cool.
Give me 1 second. I hope we didn't delete it. Oh, here it is. Peter, you're on point, buddy.
Yeah.
You're on point, man. DLR needs that third gate already. Hey, look, there's demand for that. You know, there's huge demand. Like we have a huge. The thing is with Peter, like with Anaheim, is like there's so much demand with our parks. They're packed all the time. Locals can come and go as they please. Dre, you and I were talking about this on the phone the other day. I just think a third park would do very well out here. I think it would give us more options. I think, look, and I know this is like pie in the sky, but a park like Westcot would do great out here with locals, like that kind of Epcot drink around the world kind of thing. Disney really pooped the bed with that one. Sorry, Amber Heard, but yeah. But they did.
Wait, hang on. I never get to use this one anymore.
That is one big pile of shit.
There you go. Oh my God. So topical.
So topical. But yes, they definitely did. I mean, a Westcot would be so successful right now with the AP culture, Magic Key culture. Sorry.
Yeah.
You know, the drink around the world stuff. I mean, it would just be so good. And to have that option would be so great. Do I think we're ever going to get Westcot? No, we probably won't. Whatever third park we do get, which I do believe we will get eventually, will be some sort of IP thing.
I think so.
You know, probably some sort of like Disney's version of Islands of Adventure, just a bunch of islands with IP on it or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
But man, Westcot was the dream. It was definitely the dream.
Man, you know, you look at the old concept artwork, you hear the old concepts. I was telling OG this, and let me see if I can explain it real fast for
go
you all
ahead
here, because it's such a radical concept, right? Okay, they had an idea, because the idea was you would have different continents, right? Instead of just individual countries. And each continent would have inspirations from the various countries that inspired that area's architecture. So you would have like a jambalaya, let's say, of like South America, for example. So you'd have, you know, kind of Brazilian architecture, Venezuelan architecture, that kind of thing. And you would see that for the various continents. Asia would have a mixture of Chinese, Japanese, and Korean influences and so forth, right? But think of this idea, okay? What if you had like a railroad type system that took you to the various continents and dropped you off there? Now, replace a railroad with a circular, water trough a la Pirates of the Caribbean. And when you actually got onto your boat, like you would in Pirates of the Caribbean, you would go through this kind of, Pirates of the Caribbean-esque vignette, show attraction that would lead into the various countries that you were going to could depart at. So, when you got on board, let's say Europe, and you're going over to Asia, you got a whole these vignettes and displays, of Pirates of the Caribbean-esque show scenes of the history of Asia and how these cultures influence each other and so forth. And it would circle. You could stay on. You can get off. but it would be like Pirates of the Caribbean and kind of a railroad kind of hybrid, and you would have like we see with the Primeval World and Grand Canyon dioramas, but just kind of set in kind of a boat ride that circles this thing, and it would be underground, and you could walk up, and then you'd be in the various country. This thing was supposed to do like 10,000 people an hour. It was a crazy thing. I was just like, oh my gosh, that's such a great idea. Definitely bring that back. Unfortunately, we haven't seen it, but man, oh man, there was some great ambition with it, with Westcot, and I hope we see it one day.
I hope so too. Now, I want to ask you, Dre. I think this is kind of pertinent, and I think this is kind of an interesting way to kind of frame this discussion.
Mm-hmm.
We talked. I just mentioned that Westcot, in its original form, is probably dead forever.
Yes.
It's kind of like IP-less kind of park, right?
Mm-hmm.
But is there a scenario? Because look, let's be honest. Disney right now, they have a strong focus on representation, right? On representation, like they call it what, fifth key, right? I believe.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Inclusion,
right? Is there a way? Because like, look, a park like Westcot would be pretty inclusive. You're visiting various, continents, and you would experience, just like Epcot, the various cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's possible? Now, obviously, there would be IP infused into this.
Very IP driven.
Yeah, even Epcot's getting IP. You know what I'm saying? But do you think it's possible because of that kind of like this new push for inclusiveness, representation, that we might see something like a Westcot, because they could definitely sell that. I know it sounds kind of gross, but it's a business, but can they kind of sell that as kind of a way to kind of like, hey, look, we're going to have this park. It's be very inclusive in terms of like the various cultures, what have you. We'll have, various films that represent each continent, various IP that represents each continent.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a scenario where that might occur, you think?
Maybe. Look, the strongest part I would say of Epcot is World Showcase, right? World Showcase itself is not necessarily a bad idea even today, but it would have to be taken very differently than what it has kind of ended up being at Epcot. I think if you could sell it on that angle, and you could sell it as kind of, hey, look, listen, our stories take place, within these continents, it would be evergreen, so to speak, and you could switch out IP as it becomes more relevant as the years go on, because it's going to happen probably in some corner of the world, most likely.
Right.
So yeah, it might. And look, listen, there were some great ideas for Westcot that I think could still work, and we've kind of seen work. Star Wars. What is it? Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, right? This kind of hotel experience you can take it all the way back to Westcot. Westcot had an idea where you would have the various hotels create your berm, so to speak, but they would also provide for the buildings that you would need for show buildings and show and so forth, right? Restaurants down below and stuff like that. But one of the ideas was, well, wait a minute, what if you had a kind of a story within a story where when you were staying at that hotel, you could, maybe it was an Egyptian hotel, and you could take part in, kind of Egyptian lore and Egyptian stories and adventures within your hotel, not so dissimilar to what we see actually at Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. Right. But this was back in the 90s. You see like, what is it? The hotel concept providing a berm for a given park. That's still a popular idea, and probably what we would see if we were to get a third gate, which I'm pretty confident we will, but it would most likely integrate that design language. So when I think about that kind of stuff, yeah, it's possible. We could get aspects of it. Westcot, I think as a concept in totality, I don't think it's going to happen. But aspects of it, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, and even like you mentioned, like this Egyptian, thing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can do that with Moon Knight.
Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, I look, and I know a lot of fans are probably having a heart attack. I know our buddy Showcase is like, whoa, what? But I mean, that's the reality. I mean, the reality is like Disney's all about the IP. We're just gonna have to learn to accept that, you guys.
Yeah.
So you have an Egyptian area in a new park, and you can incorporate Moon Knight in that, And I've been loving the hell out of Moon Knight. If you guys have been watching Moon Knight, comment in the chat. Moon Knight has been absolutely incredible. But yeah, you can kind of infuse these IPs into these various areas, and I think it could work. I think it could. Now, is there the desire to spend maybe $2 billion on something like a Westcot, even with IP? I don't know. As much as I defend Bob Chapek, I almost kind of hope it doesn't happen on his watch, just because I feel like it's risky. I'd rather have someone in there that I really feel confident. Even Bob Iger, I knew when Bob Iger, we saw Cars Land, Pandora, DCA 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
He did pretty good with the parks. Chapes, I don't know. Chapek, I feel a little uneasy, but you get someone in there that's willing to spend the money. Hey, build a Westcot with Moon Knight. I don't care. Just make it quality. I'm down for it,
Yeah, we have seen this kind of ongoing fiscal conservatism as we've gone on with the various eras, right? Like, once Frank Wells died and Disneyland Paris ended up really, I mean, it almost brought down the entire company, to be frank. Well, okay, that bad pun, by the way. Talking about Frank Wells in there, but you get what I mean. Yeah. Sometimes I step into it. But look, I mean, when Frank Wells died and that happened, we started to see this kind of like reining in of some of these projects and some of the ambition of the Disney company. And that's kind of, I mean, yes, we got amazing lands in the Iger era, but now we're kind of seeing the, a lack of ambition. I mean, I talked about it with the Pixar Hotel, right? It's like, wow, it's like, this is still Pixar. This is still this hotel. This is still one of the 3 properties that we have. And we're just going to go over it with some paint. It's like, I mean, we could have done more. Yeah. So when I think about the idea of a third gate, in this era right now, probably best to leave it on the shelf for a more ambitious time period.
No, I agree. And that's kind of why, same mindset, that I don't want them to touch Tomorrowland yet.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in the same position in 5 years. Obviously, current Disney, and some of it is outside of their control. Look, we have to remember the park, well, at least our park here in Anaheim, our parks were closed for 400 and something days.
412.
Right? 412
I wasn't
days.
keeping track.
There's a loss when it comes to that. I know people think like, oh, well, Disney can take it, they can take it. Well, even Disney's not invincible, and they kind of have to make up for those losses in some way. It's just the reality of the world. Yes. So right now, I just don't think there's the money to do that kind of thing. And if they're not gonna be able to do Tomorrowland right, I'd rather them not do it. Wait 5 years, get the money right, spend it. Give the Imagineers basically a blank check, like what you did with Galaxy's Edge, right? And let's get Tomorrowland finally right, and last 30, 40, 50 years. Yes. Let's do it the right way. I don't want to go in there just for the sake of doing it, and then in 10 years, it has to be redone again. I don't want to have to revisit this thing again in 10 years. I want to have it done and cool for a while,
Yeah. No, I personally agree. Look, and it speaks to, I mean, listen, these projects are expensive, folks. I mean, you're seeing concept artwork for Tokyo Disneyland's version of Space Mountain, right? Not their Tomorrowland, their Space Mountain. Now that will extend to various areas of Tomorrowland, but it's not going to be kind of a whole, a land-wide thing, at least not yet. But just for what they're doing to Space Mountain, redoing the track and everything, and the exterior, and doing the grounds around it, they're talking like $400 million. Just for that, and it's like, whoa, I mean, to redo all of Tomorrowland, at least stateside, if you're talking about the same kind of, budget and level of quality, I mean, you're talking like $1 billion project. Just that, and then now extrapolate that out to a third gate. I mean, you're probably talking at least $5 billion, probably more like 8 nowadays, especially when it comes to, California. Sorry to say, not the cheapest place to do business.
No, it's
but
true.
I mean, you're talking about an impressive amount of capital. And, I mean, look at Epcot right now. I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? You bite off this big project and you have $25 billion worth of CapEx going to all the various parks around the world. And then your parks close. Decisions are going to have to be made. And so I would like to very much see Disney get on a better financial footing and maybe a more ambitious, teams to push products through at the appropriate time.
100%. Well said, Dre. 100%. 100%. Get on the proper financial footing. Then we'll tackle Tomorrowland. Then we'll do the third park. Because these things need to happen. I just don't know if I want it done right now because it's going to be on a shoestring budget. And we've been through that before with Eisner and like the late Eisner years and Paul Presser. I just don't want to go through that again. And it's
look at the long-term damage you can do with Tomorrowland. We still don't have a people mover. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're 100% right. And look, this is the thing that's really frustrating. And Disney, if you're watching this, please take note. It's always more expensive to have to go in and fix something. We've seen this with California Adventure. If Michael Eisner just would have spent $1 billion in the first place, we wouldn't have had to redo it again a decade or so later, right?
Right.
Just if you're not going to do it right, don't do it. It's always more expensive to go in there and have to fix it. Look at Disneyland Paris, perfect example. Having to go in later and fix it. Do it right the first time or don't do it. So third park, Tomorrowland, get your money right, Disney. Make sure you're willing to spend the proper amount of money to get those done in a right way. And hey, look, you know what? If you build it and you build it right, they will come. They will absolutely come. Believe me, in Anaheim, people are the locals. The Magic Key holders are thirsty, man. They want these parks.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Really spectacular. Spared no expense.
There you go. Thought that was appropriate. No, look, listen, and that's what we're talking about on the phone, right? At Walt Disney World, getting a fifth gate out there is really, really tough because you're asking the public to have another vacation day to spend for that fifth gate, ideally, or else they're just going to cannibalize from another. We saw that with Animal Kingdom, right? It wasn't, we'll tack on another day. It was, no, we have the same finite time that we have to spend on vacation. Let's take a day away from Epcot or some other park, right? Whereas Disneyland, that's not the case. Disneyland, you have so many annual pass holders that are part of that population, or at least a local-driven population, right? About 75% of people come from within 250 miles or less, right? So with that, it's not really about vacation days. It's just where do I spend my time? And in that way, it's like, let's spread them out. A third gate for Disneyland makes total sense. I mean, these parks are saturated as it is. Come on, let's open up the gates here. Let's get them through.
Get them through. Hey, today was a really good time. We got to do, Dre, we got to do more live shows, man.
We got to do more
I
live
love
shows.
the interaction with the audience. I love just the different directions that the live shows take us in.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get a comment? Like, we weren't planning on talking about third parks, Westcot, none of that today.
No.
And Peter came in with that, and it took us in a cool direction. So we got to do more live shows for sure. But to my 1 hour and 58-minute crew, I want to thank you guys, everybody, so much for watching. This has been a really, really good time. Red Nova, congratulations again on the popcorn bucket. I will ship that out to you immediately. You should get that in a few days. But well, let's go ahead and close it out, Dre. This live stream, it was a really good time in regards to entertainment, everything we discussed today. But any final thoughts before we go, or?
No. I think that just about does it. You know, I'm currently working on that a solo show for y'all featuring Reedy Creek Improvement District. This scope is really, I want to be thorough, but it's so thick, it's so dense. I'm praying I can get this out. I'm praying I don't just get mired in it. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to have a running series or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's cut it down a little bit, but it's a big thing, folks. It's a developing story. It's got a lot of different aspects to it. It's a very, very interesting time. We're seeing ourselves, at Disney Company. You know what? That's one thing we can talk about just real quickly. What is it? Jeff Morrell gone.
Ooh, gone.
And
you know what? Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. I completely am okay with this.
Yep. Yes. And he is being attributed as the person who crafted the response to HB 1557, who got them into this whole mess on multiple levels, by the way. Listen, PR has been a disaster in the Chapek era. If there's one thing that you could probably, attribute the Chapek era to, as far as preliminary, we'll see how it develops on. PR has been dreadful. And Jeff Morrell, I didn't think it was going to get much worse than Scarlett Johansson. It makes it look like a couple matches went off in somebody's office. Like it's just it's way worse.
No, yeah.
It's bad.
This guy completely dropped the ball. And look, this new gal they got, Christina Shockey. I am seeing some evidence in the trades. There's a lot more positive pieces. I sent them to you, Dre, from Disney. Kind of really, to be quite honest, fluff pieces, right?
Yeah.
You are seeing a shift. This late, she seems to understand it a lot more than this other guy did. I think she's a lot more aggressive too. She seems a little more proactive.
Yes. So
we'll see. Look, she worked for the Hillary Clinton campaign, so she's used to putting out fires.
Yeah. That's true. Actually, that is true. Look, listen. People have fond memories of the aspects of the Obama administration, right? And part of that is crafted by PR, and she was a part of that. Yeah. And so, if we could have this kind of same brand strengthening around Disney, especially right now, that would be very beneficial. And I think we're seeing that, like you said. I think we're seeing, very positive stories come out. We're seeing some positive, fluff pieces, as we would call them, opposite of hit pieces, right? Definitely getting the troops in line. But Jeff Burrell, just one final note about this, and we'll probably include this as its own topic in a future video because there is, it's quite interesting. But remember, he was the guy who leaked out that Cosmic Rewind was going to be open on Memorial Day, and then quickly scrapped that tweet. By the way, tagged the wrong person when talking about Epcot, the wrong account, I should say. So this guy was bad. But Scott Gustin on Twitter had a great tweet. It was, I guess he'll never get to see Cosmic Rewind open on Memorial Day.
No, yeah, exactly. No, I mean, look, this Jeff Morrell guy, like he was in charge of the PR for the BP oil spill, which was the worst response ever. Like it was such a bad decision to bring him on.
Yeah.
This new lady seems like she understands PR a whole lot better.
He was also part of the Bush administration too, which isn't quite known for its PR. Also,
right, exactly, and when you're dealing with like Hollywood trades, having a former Bush person, you're probably not gonna go over well with the people that you need to kiss ass to. Let's be honest, the Bush wasn't exactly popular with Hollywood. And you got this guy, and you got this guy as your front man to communicate with the Hollywood, like Variety and Deadline. Come on, you're dead in the water before you even send the email. You know,
you are. You'll remember, Katrina and that whole thing, and they were never able to spin that in the way that they wanted to. And messaging was not a strong suit. And you can go further with the Bush administration, but we'll go ahead and leave it there. Listen, not gonna do you any favors around the Hollywood crowd. That is for sure. And his blunders, I mean, they may have cost the company, over the course of the next 100 years. I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars potentially, maybe even billions. That's how big that really great deal thing is. And again, I mean, he's being attributed as the guy who crafted that whole response that created the situation in the first place. So. Like I said, don't let the door hit you on the way out. We're moving on.
See you, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
No love lost there.
No, there's no love lost. I'm not shedding a single tear on him leaving. It was the right response. Chapek absolutely made the right decision letting him go.
Yeah.
3 months too long is all I can say.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But Dre, if you can let everybody home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Best place you can find me for the robust discussion, as we say, is going to be right here at Vash Sky. There it is. The robust discussion right there at Vash Sky on Twitter, which is a very interesting place nowadays.
Right?
Yeah, isn't that interesting? But hey, and if you want to see me, well, it's going to be on the channel you're watching right now, Orange Grove 55 at Freshly Squeezed, your source for juice, news, and info squeezed fresh right from the Grove.
But really nothing compares with a freshly squeezed.
There you go. That's our buddy Adam the Woo right there. Phenomenal YouTuber. Definitely check him out. But hey, before you do that, go ahead and subscribe to the channel you're watching right now. We hope to do more live events like this, in the future, and we'd love to have you on. And hey, if you're on, you might just win yourself a popcorn bucket. Hey, there you go.
Exactly. No, I definitely do want to do more live shows. These are a lot of fun, man. These are a lot of fun. Last live show we had was way back in November. I didn't even realize it was that long ago, but it was. I mean, it's a long time, like 6 months ago. It's crazy. So we gotta do more of these, and it's just fun to kind of interact with everybody and see where it takes us. Yeah.
It's been nice. It's been nice. I love that, like you said, the audience participation is really, really cool. Having them have us go off in these different directions that we, might not normally do. It's been a lot of fun, and I do agree with you, OG. We should do these more often.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thank y'all for watching. To Matthew Murr, Peter Vasquez, Red Nova, congratulations, Red Nova, on your popcorn bucket. Disney Fan 55, A's Art, Tanisha Burks. Our buddy Theme Park Casual, and Theme Park Wizard, Joe in the Land, everybody who joined us today. We want to thank you so much. It was a really, really good time. We'll do another live show very, very soon.
Can we end it with a little O'Reilly?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Close us out, Dre. Close us out.
There we go. Like I said, OG said thank you, everybody, for coming on. And we'll close you out with, our signature drop for our live segment here.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
There you go. Gotta do it, guys. Gotta do it. Gotta leave you on a high note. Anyway, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you all. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you.